Today I F up by confusing my neighbor's dog with her husband. This actually happened this evening. It's currently 3 a.m. and the movie is on repeat in my brain. My wife and I like to walk the dogs around our neighborhood in the evenings. And like a good neighbor, we sometimes chit-chat with people we encounter sitting on their porches or walking their dogs. Convos are usually the fleeting, banal, small talk type. So, I can get away with letting my brain be on autopilot 99.99% of the time. It's important to know that my wife is a people person. I am not. I would rather get kicked repeatedly in the shins by a small child than listen to someone talk about the weather, their roof, or the latest news from our HOA, especially while I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes. But I digress. As we approach a house that's one of our regular stops, my wife tells me that she's overdue in responding to this neighbor's text messages. Okay, so what? 10 seconds later, we're exchanging pleasantries and my brain is already off somewhere thinking about my credit score or something. 60 seconds later, my consciousness slowly tunes back into the conversation like an old FM radio, and I hear the words, Roscoe, cancer, and He's lived longer than the doctors said. And I realize I actually have to behave like a sincere, empathetic, human being for this conversation. I say something like, "Oh no, I had no idea that you were dealing with this." My wife and the neighbor continue talking about cancer drugs and some supplies she received for a protocol they didn't need. I guess she was hoping my wife knew someone who might have use for it. She didn't sound inconvenienced because she kept saying that she didn't want them to go to waste. At this point, I thought they were talking about her dog, Roscoe. So I chimed in, "Did they charge you for these extra supplies?" To which she replied, "Well, Medicaid." I know a circuit fizzled in my brain because I remember being confused that her dog had Medicaid. Anyway, fast forward another couple minutes and we're winding down our conversation and just turning to leave when I opened my big, stupid mouth and looked down at her dog and said, "Well, he looks like a happy pup despite being sick." She looks at me and says, "Mosey's fine. She's not sick." Then my wife's inner voice kicks the filter off its hinges and says to me, "What are you talking about? Her husband is sick." To which the neighbor echoes, "Who were you talking about?" Flip, me. I don't remember what I said or how I said it, but I apologized for confusing the names of her female dog Mosey with her husband Roscoe. Under normal circumstances, one might be forgiven for making that assumption. But we've stopped to talk to this lady for years. I've even been in their house. I'm cringing as I type this. Till there, I find interest in small talk with my neighbor for years and forgot that her female dog was named Mosey and her husband was named Roscoe while discussing her husband's cancer treatments where simple context clues could have kept me from sounding like an ass to a sweet old lady. Today I F up by getting a stranger concerned over my well-being and giving them anxiety attacks every 10 minutes. This one is pretty funny now that I've had a few days to process it and recalled most of the interaction. On Friday night, I wanted to celebrate the end of my academic journey and a job offer I have been hunting for years to receive. So I settled on a club to go to with my friends, and it was a regular rowdy Friday as far as my rowdy nights go. Now before I lost my sentience to alcohol, I spotted this one cute girl getting a drink and figured I'd give it a shot. This is very out of the norm for me since I'm so absorbed into varsity, academics, and my part-time job that I genuinely never had the time to even date all throughout my college years. Flirting isn't exactly my greatest asset, but I'm great at having normal conversations and being funny, so I just go with that. I start off the conversation smoothly with a quick compliment, find some common ground, in this case she goes to the same college I do, then dive into some funny stories. At this point I am 100% certain that the two of us are having a good time, but I was also like 8 shots deep into all sorts of liquor, so after the subject of how the driving commutes to campus can be a bit long, I throw an offhanded comment where I go, "Of course I never drive while I'm drunk. I always test myself with a complicated ass math equation to test my sobriety." What? Aha! Watch. 24 times 162 is equal to 3,888. So I think I'm still 2 shots shy from asking for your number. She laughs. Great, right? Right? Well, she didn't give me her number, so instead I decide to make this a running joke. We go on the dance floor and every few minutes I would just spout some random ass combination. 50 by 10 is 500. 12 by 2 is 24. Her. Looks like you're still going strong. Me. Yeah, maybe I am good enough to drive home after all. Then at one point I stopped trying to calculate, and that's where the fuck up happens. 1 by 50 is 2000. 0x10 is not 0. With every wrong calculation, her look of excitement shifted to terror. Oh man, I am so gonna drive home tonight. Who knew my tolerance was this high dash? Then I blacked out, woke up on my friend's couch, and a few hours later, he came out of his room to tell me how this one annoying girl wouldn't leave me alone when I was out of it. She apparently was trying to talk to me, but I was gone. So she went to my friends instead and kept tapping them on the shoulder and saying, "Make sure he doesn't drive home, pleasey." Then whenever she'd get back to dancing with me and one of my homies are close enough to hear my shouts, they would hear me yelling out random-ass math equations while she looked like a terrified hostage in the conversation. I don't have her number, I can't remember her name. Man, the one time I go out of my element and I *CK it up this bad. Also, fun fact, I sold my car a month ago. TLDR. Messed up a potential relationship/date by getting too drunk at a nightclub. Today I F up by texting my parents a cat video. On my mom's 64F birthday was 5 days ago, and I, 20M, entirely forgot to wish her a happy birthday. I felt kind of bad, but we don't have the greatest relationship and she's forgotten my birthday plenty, so I planned to just wait until she forgot and moved on. Well, today is my cat's birthday. I didn't do anything big, but gave her some treats, all the cuddles she wanted after work, and refilled her favorite catnip toy with fresh nip, then also sprayed it down with catnip spray and let her go to town. Well, the video of her playing with her catnip toy was very cute, and I was sending it to my friends and absent-mindedly sent it to my parents too with an explanation that it was her birthday. My mom responded super dismissively and is texting me that she's disappointed and care more about a cat than her. So yeah, TIFU by sending my mom a video of my cat. TLDR, I forgot my mom's birthday, then sent her a video celebrating my cat's birthday instead.
Today I F up with a massive faux pas at the supermarket. Not today, but not so long ago, and I still cringe about it to this day. It was before the days of ubiquitous supermarket self-checkouts, and this supermarket, Sainsbury's in Holborn, London, was experimenting at the time with a single line for all 6 human checkout operators. It was a few days before Christmas, and the supermarket was very busy. The line was about 20 deep, and it seemed to take forever to get to the front. As I reached the front of the line, a guy in his 50s approached from my left, smiled at me, and cut in front of us all, and started to unpack his groceries onto the belt. Now, I know I've been using the word line in this post, but as a Brit we usually say queue, and one thing we Brits are renowned for is that we definitely know how to queue. So in my most indignant voice, I said loudly to the guy, "Hey mate, the queue is back there," pointing to the line of 20 or so behind me. I felt rather proud for defending us all from this attempted cheat. "Oh, okay mate, I'm sorry," he said. And he walked away, tapping his white stick. I don't think I've ever been so embarrassed. I wanted the floor to open and swallow me whole. My queue neighbor shot daggers at me, and the checkout operator seemed to have fury in her eyes. I followed after him, begging him to take my place instead, but he refused, insisting I was correct to scold him. Somehow I managed to survive the onslaught of shame directed my way, paid for my goods, and got out of there alive. But with my dignity very much not intact. TLDR, I sent a blind man to the back of the supermarket line for trying to get served before the rest of us. Today I F up by being nice. God, why do I keep doing this? I've always been a people pleaser. At my last job, I had wonderful coworkers who tried to help me break this cycle. So I thought I could just find the opportunities to please others only when I get some sort of benefit. My current job is a 24/7 facility. I started when it opened, and my boss wanted to do a rotating schedule. Nights 1 week, weekends the next. Because no one wants to work nights or weekends around here. I can't work nights due to a medical reason. I made a deal with my boss. I don't work nights and I don't have to work a rotating schedule, but I work every weekend and holiday if the people normally scheduled want the holiday off. I've been very flexible. I help her with the schedule, and I always offer to change mine up a bit to fit everyone else's requests as long as I keep the same days off every week. More recently, I was helping her with the schedule, and it was a mess since someone wanted to switch weekends. We were struggling to staff Fridays and weekends. So I told my boss I'd actually prefer for my two 12-hour shifts to be on weekends and to work Fridays instead of Tuesdays. I like Fridays and the weekend because there's no one else in the building. We're connected to a Monday through Thursday office section. Well, now I'm scheduled every other Tuesday, every other Friday, and my 12s aren't always on the weekend. I didn't agree to this. Asked her to please not put me on a rotating schedule, but what do you know, it works better for someone else. I've put so much time and effort into this job. I worked hard for a promotion that I didn't end up getting, even though my boss now admits that I was the stronger candidate because of the specific duties. I got everything set up nice for the position. I'm so tired of this. I wish I could be nice without it biting me in the ass. I can't quit my job because I won't be able to find one in the same pay range. And I usually like my job. TLDR. I offered to change my schedule to make it work better for others. My schedule got changed beyond my control to the opposite of what I wanted. Thank you so much for watching the video. For more video like this, please subscribe.